You good? Okay. Call the meeting to order for November 18th, 2024. I'll ask Terry Haycraft if she would please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you, Terry. Next item on the agenda is approval of the regular meeting minutes from November 4th, 2024. Those were sent out Thursday, I think, and everybody's had a chance to look at those. If you have any questions or concerns with those.
Mayor, I do have one, if I could.
Okay.
I think, Gloria, at the, talking about the committee as far as the rec center, I think I'd indicated that I don't have the authority to do anything as far as the rec center, and if you wouldn't mind adding that to the minutes.
Okay, I can do that.
I appreciate it. That's all.
Anyone else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the meeting minutes from November 4th.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from November the 4th.
Motion by Gina. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Before we go any further, let me, and I almost got past this, Clayton Miller, who usually sits here to my left, he has had some health issues. He's at home, got home today, and he's online watching, and he's going to have, if he's got any questions or comments or anything, he's going to text me. So that's where we'll go with that. Like I say, he's watching us now. So hi, Clayton. Next up is approval and ratification of bills.
I make a motion, we pay the bills.
Okay, motion by Tootie. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Billy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, next item up is declare surplus half undivided interest in property located on 0 Basham Drive and advertise for sale through sealed bids. This is a piece of property, most of you will remember, that the city and the Industrial Development Corporation purchased together back 10 or so years ago when the cheese plant had thoughts of expanding. That's since gone away, and there's really not a lot of use for that property. As far as the city's concerned, we have had an offer on that, but we have to go through the process. IDC has voted to sell it, and we just need to clean up this detail in order to let our half go.
So we just split the sale bids, what you're saying?
Yes, yeah. It'll be split 50-50, so.
Well, will it be split 50-50, or we're only gonna, when we advertise, here was my understanding, that we're gonna advertise for half. So I think, will their sealed bids be for half, and then I don't know how they'll do that with IDC. I just wanna make sure we do this right, because I've never done it.
I don't know, how would you do it half?
I don't know, but that's what we
What
were.
if what if they don't want to? After we get our bid?
Well, they have voted and they have.
Yeah, they've already
I mean, we
voted
can't
to do that.
advertise for their portion, because we don't own it.
I don't think it would be a bad idea to have some type of written agreement between the two of us of the agreement to list it jointly.
Yeah, because you
The only-
can't have a piece of property without a description of
No,
which
somebody
part
owns
you're
it.
selling.
How you know which half you own?
Right.
The only other thing I think that we could do, if we decided to, or they decided to deed the half to one of the entities.
And
We
you
either
can,
deed- we either deed to them or they deed to us.
Right.
Quit claim.
Yes, and you can legally do that. I mean, you can deed over your half interest. So I would declare your half interest as surplus, and then I don't think it would hurt to have a written agreement that you are going to list it together and
Sell
kind
it
of work
jointly.
out the
Final bid will be jointly.
Yeah. And there's a shade over 10 acres, I think, is what's there.
I think so.
And like I say, we were approached by one gentleman that had interest in it and made an offer. And to be honest with you, I didn't know until that happened that we were in partners with them. I thought the city owned it.
Any
100%
thoughts
of
of
it.
just selling our one-half interest to them and then letting them deal with it with the guy that's made an offer to them?
I mean, at this point, you can just declare it surplus of, well, I mean, if you want to table it for 2 weeks and have that discussion, you can do
But,
that.
but
It's
you're
up to
still
you
taking
all.
sealed bids.
It's up to them. We would be out of it. If we just sold our one-half interest to them for what we paid for it.
They wouldn't have to
then-
take sealed bids.
Then they wouldn't have to, and they could do whatever they want to. And we could sell it maybe for, you can sell it to another government entity or for economic development, or sell it to industrial
Without.
board, then they can say we're selling it for economic development.
I don't know if
And
they
what they
meet,
do with it, they can do
I
whatever.
don't know that
I don't know if
they
they
meet
meet
the
the
requirement.
definition of a government entity.
Yeah.
They don't.
I don't
That's-
think they do.
And so that.
So we'd have to sell it
we'd-
for economic development? I think there was an exception. We can sell property to,
You
somebody
can
for
sell
economic
for
development.
you can for economic development if it meets the
and
criteria.
if they're a board that does economic development, that would probably meet the criteria.
I
But
don't-
it doesn't matter.
Well-
To me, that would be the quickest and simplest way to get us out and let them deal with it. And then if they want to sell it to the person that they want, then they can. And then we're done. We get our money and,
Why don't we do this? Why don't we declare our half surplus, and then Bob will be here Thursday? We
Yes.
can sit down with him. Well, he'll probably be here tomorrow.
He'll
He
be here
usually comes in
tomorrow,
on
yeah.
Tuesday some. We can sit down with him and find out for sure what their intents are and how they'd rather do it.
Okay.
It's really not gonna, it's gonna come out the same for us either way, really, in the end.
Yeah, there may be bids bigger than what's been offered.
Might be,
Yeah.
Right.
so. So does anybody want to make a motion to declare it surplus property at this time?
I'll make a motion to declare surplus property.
Okay. Have a motion on the table by Terry. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, guys. And we'll talk with Bob tomorrow, and I'll send out a text or an email or something to let y'all know which direction it's going. All right, the next item is approval of the agreement between the City of Leitchfield and Kentucky Engineering Group, PLLC, for the new Leitchfield wastewater treatment plant, as attached, and authorize the mayor to execute this agreement on behalf of the city.
Mayor, what I attached in here was what Kay gave us for the preliminary project cost estimate, because the contract is actually almost 300 pages.
Yeah.
It's a very complex RD contract that we have to use the RD contract. So it's very complex. I do have a copy if you all want me to email that out to you, Dave, and they've sat down and worked and made all the adjustments to it. And, the Utility Commission is comfortable that everything's in there that needs to be in there, and that the mayor has to be the one to execute the contract, so. There's just, you can see the projected cost of it, and the engineering design and the resident inspection, those two costs there are lump sums that they're gonna be paying out, so,
It's a big number.
yeah. But I didn't know what else to print because the contract is just enormous.
Yeah. And Tootie asked earlier, I think we've talked about it before, but it's worth noting again. This plant will be built with the capacity to serve the communities around us. That's part of the big push now with state and federal government, is to regionalize things instead of building one for every small town.
So we'll get money from them for that.
If they decide, which I don't think, I think that they're going to have to.
Or grant.
Clarkson will have to, I think, with some of the problems they're having. Caneyville, we're not sure about, and that's down the road, I think, anyway, but it will have the capacity to serve those people if their city government chooses to do so.
And I'm just, do we go to Big Clifty? I mean, is that something that you eventually move to, or is it not?
You know, I think it's a possibility, especially with, you know, if Blue Oval, I think that end of the county probably has more potential for growth than any of us. So I don't think that's been brought into the plan now, but I think there would be capacity for that there if and a lot of people are going to want to build in the county, or there's no planning and zoning, of course, in the county for subdivisions and things like that. So, but that's one of the reasons the number's so big. But as I was telling Tootie, been here almost 2 years, and that number's gone up considerably since I've been here.
Yes.
You know, several $1 million. So,
It's probably gonna keep going.
hope so. Hope this is it. But as we've seen with change orders and things like that, it never seems to pan
Utilities
out.
has already approved this.
Yes,
think-
they
yes.
sent it over for you all to approve, mayor to sign, yes.
Yeah.
I wonder what the projected time is on starting something like this.
I think the projected timelines I've heard is somewhere in the 5-year range from start to finish. So and that's with the engineering part of that. So from the engineering point to actually getting it built online, 5 to 6 years, they're saying.
And Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, that's one of the reasons they did the engineering and the resident inspection lump sum, so they could go ahead and get
Yes.
a jump start on it, because if we wait on all the contract, or getting the money and everything approved, it was gonna be, what, another year
Yeah.
tacked on?
Yeah.
So, and we can repay ourselves for the money that they
Right.
spend out of what we get, so.
And that's something that's gone up too. It started out when I came in as talking about a 4-year project, and then it's 5, and now it's close to 6.
I
So.
wonder what happens to this final estimated cost though in 5 years from now. Whenever it's finally finished, that cost could be double.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
They talked like they felt really comfortable with that price. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, it's all still gotta be bid out, right, Mayor?
Yes.
You know, so,
It's probably not gonna get no cheaper, Tootie.
no.
No, I know that.
No.
I know that.
The sooner we get started, the better.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
The elephant in the room is passing it to the consumer.
yeah.
Yeah. And they will, you know, they've done talked about that in their meetings.
Yeah.
So,
But it will be, I mean, it's cheaper now than it will be
Exactly.
later, you know, and that's, I think, one of the time, they're trying to lock some pricing in and stuff like that. All that they
What
can.
happens to our plant now?
There's property there that they'll build actually on. I think some of the plant, I'm not sure exactly what part of it will remain, the existing plant. But up behind it, I think, you know, where behind the fence there and everything is where it's actually going to be built, I think. And then, so they have the property there, the space to do it. So that's their plan, is to build on an existing property and then incorporate some of the existing plant into it too. A lot of it is, a lot of the talk and the expense of it has been, there's certain things that it's pretty costly to treat, phosphates being one. We've only got 1 or 2 places that put out phosphates. But it's a pretty big entity that does that, so,
So there's enough room down there to build it
Yeah.
without having to buy any land or?
yes, yeah.
I'll make the motion. If we're gonna move forward, we gotta do it.
Okay.
That's what I was getting ready to say, Billy. I second it.
Motion by Billy, second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, guys. Next up is approval of requested amendments to utility ordinance in reference to procedure to disconnect for non-payment Did everybody get a chance to read that when she sent it out? Basically, it's tying the utilities together with a non-payment situation. If you don't pay your bill, your gas bill, water bill, sewer bill, whatever, you'll be disconnected basically from all of that garbage, you know. That's something they've looked at. There has been some issues over time with, and we've all heard this if we've been around town much, that it does hold the owner of the property accountable if they can't get it out of the renter, of whoever's name it's in. And that's up for debate whether
I
that's
guess
the
some
right.
of that would be pending weather.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain times that you can't disconnect somebody with electric or gas or things like that they heat with.
I think the biggest part about this one is where they're gonna start putting liens on the actual property.
Yes, yeah.
I understand.
Same as we would if, you know, the situation with Tyler's involved in Cave Mill Road, you know, once we get that work done, there'll be, if they don't pay, there'll be a lien put on the property that maybe 30 years from now, the city will get paid, but.
So how long do they have now before it's disconnected?
I'm not sure what the grace period is.
But I'm not seeing any dates or times or anything in here that would tell me.
I mean, that's, without having a utility bill in front of me, they've got, when we bill it out, they've got so many days to pay it before penalties hit, and then they've got so many days to pay it with penalty before shut-offs. And we're really strict about our shut-offs. We do them twice a month.
I think generally people have time to get those things taken care of
They
if
do.
they want to.
Yeah.
In the cities, I think from what I've seen, the city will work with you if you come in and you're honest and you don't try to run or hide from them. They'll work with you in every way they can to avoid anything like this. But human nature being what it is, it doesn't always get taken care of, so.
Well, I think that's just good business practice anyway.
Yeah.
You gotta work with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion to accept that amendment?
We can go ahead and take the vote whether we're gonna move forward, but we won't, we won't actually, take a vote to implement the ordinance until after first and second reading.
Okay. So do you want to read this paragraph here, Arlene? Do you need to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
An ordinance of the City of Leitchfield, Kentucky, amending ordinance number 2004-5, passed 6/7/2004, is amended by amending said ordinance, and now therefore be it ordained by the City of Leitchfield, Kentucky as follows, that ordinance 2004-5, passed 6/7/2004, be amended as follows, with added portions being underlined and deleted portions being indicated by a line drawn through them and encompassed by brackets enclosing them. The billing for solid waste collection service and water, sewer, and/or gas utility services shall be consolidated and itemized on a single periodic billing by the Utilities Commission. Non-payment of any portion of the services billed on the consolidated billing shall constitute delinquency in the payment of the entire consolidated billing by the person or entity responsible for such payment who applied for the services and the owner of the real property, and shall result in the termination of all utility services provided by the city until the delinquency is paid in full or an acceptable written repayment agreement is obtained pursuant to the terms of the utility disconnection policy established by the Utilities Commission. Upon services being disconnected, the unpaid portion of the services billed shall constitute a lien on the real property of the owner until paid in full. All ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, to the extent of such conflict only, are hereby repealed. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its adoption, readoption, publication, as required by law. It is hereby authorized that publication of this ordinance be in summary form.
I got a couple questions. So how many estimate a month do we disconnect?
Depends on what cycle it is. Sometimes 10, 20 per cycle.
So if I'm reading this, if it gets disconnected, then you're going to file a lien.
Gives us the option to file a lien. I don't know, we're not gonna go that day and file a lien against somebody's property, you know.
That's a
We'll
last
still-
resort.
Well, I understand, but
Really?
it says being disconnected.
Yeah.
It doesn't say option to. So I was just like, how much does filing a lien cost? Who's paying that, city or utilities? Who's gonna be in charge of
The utilities will have to pay that up front. It's usually $46 to file a lien, and then we recoup those charges when the customer pays. We can pass those on to the customer. Same thing when Tyler files a lien. We can recoup those charges. So it's usually, unless you have copies like we did on our last one, it's usually 46 to file it and 46 to release it.
That's all.
Okay, is that it? Okay. Anyone else? So we need to go ahead and vote to accept the amendment, or we don't?
We can just do a vote at the second
Second
reading.
reading.
It's a second reading, okay. Okay. All right, next up is the following appointments are coming up for new appointments, reappointments. We'll actually vote on these the next meeting, and I won't bore you guys with all the reading. You've got them in front of you here, but there's Tax Appeals Board, Airport Board, Planning Commission, and Board of Adjustments. Tyler has put out applications for the planning and zoning positions that will replace when George and Tim come aboard. If you guys know of anybody that you think would be interested in this, how long are we doing applications, Tyler?
26th, is it?
I think it is the 26th. It's the day before Thanksgiving. It's the last day that we're accepting resumes.
And I think, we have two so far. We talked
Yep.
earlier. We've got two applications so far. So,
For what position?
Planning Commission, we've got 2 vacancies there, and then we'll have 2 vacancies on the Board of Adjustments. And the Board of Adjustments can be filled by current Planning Commission members. You can have up to 2, and the 2 coming off both serve on each board.
I
So,
think Tootie's wanting to know, is that what they applied for?
yeah, those
Is that
2
what their
people have
applications are
applied,
for?
yeah.
I'm sorry.
We had one come in today for the Board of Adjustments. I don't
All
know
right,
if
so
you've
now
seen
we
that.
have 3.
Is this airport board, is that the city's person? We have 2.
No, this is the only person we have on the airport board. We just have one.
I thought we had 2.
I thought we had two.
I thought we
Are
had
you
I
sure
don't
we
think
don't have
so.
two?
Hold on,
Kirk,
let me
is
look.
Kirk
I think-
not on there no more?
We do have
think
two.
we do.
We got
Kirk
3, I'm
Collard
sorry.
is
We do
one of
have
ours,
3.
too.
Right now,
Yeah.
we've got Charles, Gordon, Kirk, and Michael. And I did talk to Michael today, and he does want to be reappointed, and I actually talked to Kirk to get his number. And Kirk said he is a valuable,
Do they have
Person
to
to
be, do they have
that
to be city residents?
I don't
I
think so.
don't think so.
no, I don't think so because it's,
I thought 1 or 2 of them did.
I've never seen anything on that one, to be honest with you.
Mr. Pierce is, I've met him a few times. He is a good guy. If you ever see a helicopter fly over town, little helicopter, it's him. He said he's gonna land at City Hall one day, and pick me up, fly me to Farmers for lunch. I said, I might go that far with you.
You don't get on the treetop.
Yeah, but if you guys know of someone that is interested in this, encourage them to come down and put in an application and see where they land. All right, we're down now to visitors. Is anybody, Marty, you a visitor tonight?
Yes, sir.
Come on up.
And that mic should be already be on, Marty, so you should be good.
I'm Marty Higdon, a business owner in Leitchfield, also property owner. I was just wondering if you all could tell me what services we get out of our tax money in the city of Leitchfield. What are we paying these taxes for? Our city taxes? Can anybody tell me what that is?
Well, I can't say that you're gonna get everything as far as
Well,
all
I'm
the
just-
utilities and all that, but I
What
mean,
kind,
where'd you get the trash, the garbage pickup?
will you pay for it?
Well, you have to pay for anything.
Fire
Oh, yeah.
protection, police protection, things like that. City services, that's what I think of when I think of that. Utilities and generally fire and police protection.
Well, I guess that's one thing I'm looking at. You know, you constantly hear that the city's giving us this and they're giving us that. We're paying city taxes. They're not giving us anything. So what are those city taxes going for? One reason I'm asking, I have a piece of property over on Kelly Street, has no sewer. Those houses was probably built 60s or earlier, I guess. I
That's
don't
across
understand.
the railroad.
Yeah, I don't know, there's no sewer on Salt River Road through there. None of the houses through there, you get to the factories and they got sewer. Why can we not get sewer there? We're paying our city taxes that should be going for a sewer service, water service, trash, like you said, and things like that. Why can we not get sewer over there?
That's a good question for the utilities to answer.
Well,
Because of
we
getting-
don't pay the utilities a tax, we pay this to the city. That's why I came here instead of going to the utilities. I thought everybody was entitled to have these services, sewer and water.
You can't get everything in the city. I live in the city and I don't have sewer, but I don't pay a sewer bill either.
Yeah,
You don't pay sewer bills
I don't pay
down
a
there.
sewer bill, but I
Right.
want city sewer.
Have you talked to the utilities to ask them where the lines are at?
Mayor has,
I mean, I didn't know if
and they
it's
said it's
feasible.
not feasible.
Okay,
Well, just because it's not feasible, why are we not entitled to it? You know, we pay our bills just like anybody else in the city pays.
so when they told you it wasn't feasible, why was it not
Well,
feasible?
it's not gonna make them a ton of money.
Financially.
No, I
It's
mean,
not gonna make enough money to pay for this new sewer plant they're building.
okay, so it
I
has,
guess you'd say.
I don't think
distance
it'd
it
make
has to
enough
come.
money to even pay for the line to run it to Kelly. That's what they're talking about.
Well, I don't know. I thought maybe going through the city council, we got our tax bills in, got them figured up today. We pay $13,600 some taxes. Why am I not entitled to have sewer on?
it-
I don't want it on my property. I just want it on Salt River Road where I can connect to it. That's all I'm asking. Is there any way that you all can talk to these people and tell them that we're entitled to such as this?
I think there's several places, like I said, in town that does not have sewer.
But maybe I'm speaking for those people too.
But
You know,
you are.
if we're in
I
the city
live in-
limits, we should be entitled to this.
I live in a place right now that's got several nice big homes down through there. But it's not on city sewer. And to get it on city sewer, there's just no telling what the cost would be to put city sewer there. And the whole time you live there, whoever lives there, will probably never pay enough money to pay for putting that line in at that
Well, the
time.
thing I guess that I'm saying, these houses were probably built in the 60s.
Right.
And here it is, 2025? Why in some of this time, you know, I know there's grants that comes out for such things like this to the utilities, to the city or what have you. Why hasn't in all of these years something like that not been looked into
Well, I'm sure it has.
and these people given the service?
I'm sure it has. I mean, the utilities are talking about trying to expand all the time.
Yeah.
trying to figure out different places to
But,
expand.
yeah, but they're not looking at this property that's been there for 40, 50 years, that's in the city limits.
How many properties are you talking about, Marty?
There's 5 houses that would be put on this sewer, I'd say that if we had it. It's nowhere on Salt River Road from the tracks down to the factories. And I guess before you get into when you get into the factories is when you'll get into the city sewer.
I think it feeds from the west coming over towards Salt River Road through Kuiper subdivision and comes in that way. I tend to agree with Marty. There are a lot of properties in the city that haven't been offered sewer or utilities. I think that's part of living in a city, is benefiting from the things the city offers. Now, it's also kind of got to be a work in progress. I think it should be in the planning stages at some point. And the thing with city and utilities, there's a distinct line there. We could address them and say, hey, we think this is the way you ought to go, but we really don't have any influence or say on them in any capacity, really. And that's part of what I think what Tootie's saying. You know, we don't really have the authority to go and say, hey, we want this done.
Yeah, well, I can see somebody going in and starting a new subdivision, like, say, all this property over here off of Wallace Avenue. You know, somebody goes in over there and they start building, and there's no sewer over there, and they have to put in septic tanks to get by. Okay, at the time these properties were built, there wasn't no such thing as city sewer.
Right.
You know, and to me, sometime between then and now, there should have been something put in effect to look into getting this done. You talk to them over there and they just say it's not feasible.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's not feasible. It's not feasible for me to pay over $13,000 taxes on property. That's not feasible to me. But if I quit paying my taxes on this property, you're all gonna put a lien against it, you're gonna sell it. You know, and part of this money, I feel like, that goes on my taxes should be going for this sewer.
Yeah, and that's another thing. There's that line of distinction there that
Well, where do they get their money for the sewer? If they're not getting some of this tax money, they're just getting paid for the sewer service and that's it. You know, of course, the government's constantly adding on to these things.
sewer, water, and gas. I mean, they get they get money from that. There'll be several grants and low interest loans. I mean, that's pretty much what they operate off of
Why can't we
when
get
building something like this.
Why can't we get one to get these sewers put in?
I guess I can't answer that. I can tell you we can look out there and see what's out there. And we do have people that help us with grants.
When is the utilities meeting?
Thursday,
It'll be this
second,
Thursday?
first and third Thursdays, yeah.
Okay.
So you may want to come and talk with us then.
Well, I figured that since you all collected the tax money, maybe you
Yeah.
had a little bit to do with it, but
Legally, there's a distinction there that we don't have, the say.
why don't
We
you take it over so you can control it? Why
can't
do we
do,
have to
can't do
have
that
two
either.
different divisions?
Can't do that either. That was drawn up back in the sixties, and, it would be from what I've understood, it'd be a lengthy legal process to do that. Part of the thing with state and a lot of the federal grants is as long as they have outstanding debt with grant money and things like that, they have to stay as they are. They have to stay that
So
separate
they can't
entity.
pay their debts off?
Well, I mean, the water plant was, what, 13 million, Lori?
13 million.
So, no, that's a 20, I'd have to go back and look. It's a 25 or
Well, if they
30
can't
year.
pay their debts off,
bond.
it sounds like none of this sewer system's feasible, doesn't it?
It's
You know,
not
why
really-
does anybody get it,
Well, that's true.
if that's the case?
That's why we're
You know,
in
from the
debt.
60s till now, and they haven't paid their debt off?
Well, the
That's new
debt's
debt.
paid, their debt's been paid off and down, but the majority of their debt right now is the water plant that they finished up a couple of years ago. That's the debt, the bulk of the debt they've got right now. So there's not a lot of debt there, Lori. I don't think it's, and I will say this, they don't generally spend on things they don't feel like they need, you know. So the things that they're spending big money on, things that the city's got to have.
Yeah.
Water plant, sewer plant, things like that.
Marty, I kind of feel your pain. When we built the house, I think ended up probably costing a little over $5,000 extra if we could have just tapped onto the sewer. And I've got a really strong arm, and I could almost throw a rock and hit the sewer line. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's not that strong. But anyway, I understand. And I had the same conversation, and the cost, there's not enough money to do it right now. But I kind of agree with you on a
But
fault.
when is it?
Why-
You know, that's the thing.
That-
Why hasn't something been done?
That's my argument. Why hadn't this been a 30-year plan to say, okay, I know we can't do it but why can't we set aside, or utilities set aside and have a plan? Okay, we're going to do this year.
You've got to
2
start
years.
somewhere.
Yeah.
You've got to
and-
start somewhere.
And I don't see they've ever tried to add on to the people that are exactly the same situation as you and the same situation for me. So I don't know how, maybe other than maybe public pressure to say, okay, why don't you have a plan to eventually get everybody that's in the city? It may take 50 years, but at least have a plan to show this is how we're progressing on it.
Yeah.
But that's my fault, and that's
Yeah,
where
and
I agree with you, and again, it costs
It's
me
like
money
you said,
also.
there should be a committee, there should be something set up to say, hey, we've got all these properties out here with no sewer. Can we not start something and look at, a section? Well, you can't say whenever it gets to be feasible to you, because nothing's feasible to them.
Well, to me, you've got to have a work plan, and that's some of the things we're working
That's it.
toward, 5-year, 10-year,
And if they would have
15-year.
started this back years ago, when they started putting this sewer system into the factories and what have you, it could have been worked towards that. I'm sure it cost a ton of money to put it into those factories over there.
And one of the big costs, and I've got some property too that doesn't have sewer, and it's right dead in the middle of town. The big answer I've been given mostly is, in my case personally, there would have to be a lift station built to get back to one house. So they're hesitant to do that. Denny,
Same,
whole lot the
except
same
we got a
thing.
lot more than one house.
Yes.
I think there was subdivision was created by maybe Tootie Cottrell or something
Yeah,
like
maybe.
that.
Probably.
Couldn't get nothing done then.
Couldn't get nothing done, and obviously he's probably on city council then, but
But I
same
think-
situation, that's exactly same situation.
I think Denny hit the nail on the head. If people that lived in the city limits that wanted it would come down and express that at meetings, then that's how things start moving. Just to be honest with you,
Well,
Utilities
maybe we,
meetings.
pardon,
Utilities.
utilities meeting, yes.
that's what I started to say, maybe we could just get a bunch of people together and go to the utilities meeting.
Yeah, I
Say,
mean,
"Hey,
I think that's-
We need something done.
Yeah, and we've seen that lately. I mean, people that are interested come in and express their interest, whatever it is with city, and it makes a difference. When you sit out there and
You
you,
also have people that don't have interest.
yeah.
Well, I wanted to come in and get these old city council persons. I didn't want to do something to these new ones that's coming in. And,
We've already warned them. They ought to be ready.
That's it. I haven't been in complaint for a long time. She said she hadn't seen me at the first meeting since she's been on.
I was waiting, I thought I got 2
So
meetings
I'll-
left and I haven't
I'll
seen
wait till
Marty.
the last. Guys, I thank you all for taking the time to listen, and
Holler at me sometime. We'll sit down. We'll get some stuff together, and you're welcome to come to the utilities meeting. And, like I say, numbers matter after.
who do you talk to when you go there? The committee, like? what
Yeah,
you
it's
got
a
here?
commission, just
No
like-
one person, it just,
Just
No,
like
it's
we
just,
are.
just like we are here, yeah. Dwight, Keith Jones, Bob Crawford, Kevin Ferris, and myself are on that committee. Dwight's a non-voting member. Pudgy, I'm sorry. Dwight's a non-voting member, so.
Maybe I need to get over there before people like him get booted off and you or something like that.
But I do think it would benefit the city.
Well, I'll do that. I didn't know where to start, and I started getting these tax bills in, and man, I get upset.
Yeah,
You know,
You
I'm
take-
sure if I go to the county and ask them, what am I paying you all these taxes for?
yeah.
Your tax bills pay a lot. They pay payroll. We got a $1.5 million fire truck we're buying. We got fire trucks already that's bonded.
We just bought 3 new police
We
trucks.
got a
police
brand-
cars.
You don't have to charge me for all this.
We got, well, you own so many properties. That's why your tax bill's so high.
Well,
Not
you
to
know,
mention the park system, right, Timmy?
Parks, recreation.
Parks and Rec.
We don't charge you to pick your leaves or sticks up. We don't, I mean,
But at least, Marty, you didn't have to empty your septic tank for a whole year like I did. Now, my part of it was pretty good, but Terry's part was really pretty rank.
it's always
She'll
something.
be pleased to hear that.
She will, especially as it's broadcast.
Well, I guess that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you, Marty.
thanks, Marty.
It's not.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Marty, just to note, their meetings start at 5.
5, yes.
So, on the utility commission.
First and third Thursday, did you say?
I guess I'll take off early.
There you go. I just didn't want you to show up at 6 and nobody be here, so.
Tammy, do you have anything? No? Okay.
Nah.
Anyone else? Visitor-wise. Pudgy, do you have anything? Okay. I know that but crew in the corner there don't have nothing. I can tell by looking at them.
I think JD does.
JD ain't got nothing. I don't think he's wondering where his donuts are at.
You're right, my donuts are not back here.
surely Scotty's got some kind of update or something.
That's a Terry Ashley thing there. He invented that, so. All right, guys, we'll move on to unfinished business. Billy, do you have
No,
any?
sir.
Terry?
No.
Tootie?
No, sir.
Gina?
No, sir.
Dennis? Lori? Earlene? Tyler?
No, sir.
Chief?
No, sir.
Okay. We're going down to new business. I don't think this is on your all's agenda, but it's something for you to be thinking of. I think you have a copy here, orders number 2024, it says at the top of it, dealing with medical cannabis. And if you guys would read that and become familiar with it, and if you have any questions, we'll address them and we'll vote on this at the next meeting.
You're gonna do the first
Well,
reading tonight?
No, there's some adjustments Earlene needs to make. It's not in our format that we typically read stuff in, so Earlene wants to do a few adjustments to it. The content's still gonna be the same, but there's just a few little things that we need to.
So what happened in the lottery drawing?
It's the 25th, but if
25th.
we wait
I thought it was
until,
October 25th.
I think it's got pushed back, I guess. I remember.
Yeah, I thought it was
remember
before the
It was
election.
October 25th was the lottery.
I remember that,
No.
yeah.
not for dispensaries, that's November
That was for
25th.
the growers and the producers or
So,
whatever.
Anybody got an update on it?
No, I don't have a date on that. I don't think they drew
No,
on
for
that.
October 25th, there was something.
Yeah, that was,
That
I
was
think that
lottery.
was for the growers or the labs maybe. I think it was for labs.
Cost $10,000 to put an application in.
There were some of them that was really expensive.
That's what I heard.
And they.
But I don't know if they drew us, if they
No.
drew.
We didn't, did we even have anybody apply any business
Yes.
applications
To grow?
in the?
I was
Not to
thinking-
grow, not to grow.
Cultivator,
No, not that I know of.
right. The
The only-
dispensary is November 25th, I
Yeah.
believe, which is next Monday, is when that drawing is.
The thing you'll want to notice on this more than anything, I think, is at the top of the second page. They basically, Tyler, you want to explain that? You can probably do better at it than I will.
You talking about the actual amendment and not the ordinance reading?
Well, the 1,000-foot,
Oh, okay.
and that churches were not involved in that.
Yeah, so, there was a lot of discussion on the buffer zones and if we wanted to have any other, protection for, other than schools and daycares, what was put forth by KRS. And the planning commission decided to just revert to what the KRS required. And that was that 1,000 foot from schools and daycares. So there was no other.
We had asked for
protection put in.
200 foot. The council had, for that variance.
I think the 1,000 foot those.
We were asked to look into an additional, and then I brought that up to the planning commission, and they decided to stay with this. So you all will be the ones to vote whether or not to accept it,
Well,
and
And
if you
the
wanted
thing,
to send it back to us, then
Passing the buck.
well,
the thing that I wanted to note and make sure y'all are aware of is
200 feet? This is 1,000.
schools and daycares are the only thing included in this. So there's not any other entities that.
What does the KRS state as far as feet?
1,000.
1,000 feet.
That's what that is in
So
there.
when I did the research on that, with what we have protection from already with this, there's 5 churches in the city limits that would not fall into this protection. So,
So that's something to look at, read over, guys. If you have questions, holler at me or Lori or Tyler. We'll try to answer them best we can. And once they get this put in the format they need, next meeting, you think we'll have to have a special called meeting to do a
No,
second reading on it? Or will we have time?
I don't think we will, because we
Okay.
have 2 meetings in
I
December.
mean, I guess
Well,
that just
it
depends
depends
on
on
if they
how-
send it back to the planning commission, because we have to January 1st.
200
Okay.
instead of 1,000.
I want them closer. I want,
With
because
KRS?
we did a little, I want churches, we wanted churches added, and we wanted 200 feet.
Not we as in the majority,
No,
but you as
Right.
in.
no, me and Clayton, and, I mean, there's several, Denny, there's several that. But yeah, we'll read over it.
Okay. All right, so you guys just be sure and read over that. Any concerns you have, like I say, let us know if there's anything before the next meeting. We do need to be pretty timely with it, you know, I think as best we can. Okay, new business, Billy,
No, sir.
Terry,
No.
Judy,
no, sir.
Gina,
No, sir.
Danny.
No.
Really?
First, I know.
Really?
I know, it's a first.
I'm gonna mark this down. Lori,
No.
Earlene, Tyler,
no, sir.
David.
No, sir.
All right, guys. Other business reminder, there will be a beautification committee meeting on December 2nd at 5 PM. The next chamber luncheon is Thursday, December 12th. Please let Lori know by noon on December 9th if you plan to attend. And the city's annual Christmas dinner will be Friday, December 13th at 6 o'clock at Center on Main. And
And the fire department Christmas dinner on December 7th.
fire department
At
Christmas
6.
dinner, December 7th at 6 o'clock,
What time's the parade?
3:30. So there's a lot of things going on in our community in the next few weeks. And I do want to mention, Tammy, you add to this if you need to, because my mind ain't as sharp as it used to be, but we did have a presentation over to Lawson Valley this morning that designated this as a trail town. It's a pretty good honor. We were the 30th city in the state to receive that recognition. Most of that work, I think legwork, was done by Tiffany with counties. Anya started it back some years ago, and yeah, so had a couple of guys from the governor's office down here this morning, had a good ceremony, and it's just another, another feather in our community's hat, that we can do for people that, visitors and residents alike. So it is pretty good designation to have.
And it puts you on a map that we have trails here, which will draw tourists.
Yeah. So, if you guys see somebody with the county, Tiffany, Judge Henderson, some of those might mention it to them. They're proud, as we are, that, to be able to do that, have that. Yeah. Yeah. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Terry,
I'll second.
second by Gina. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Nay.
Thank you, guys.